Welcome to Rack of the Week 204. We are alternating every week now, and this week is straight pool. We're going to take a look at a rack by Thorsten Hohmann. But first, I want to say thank you to all my supporters, new supporters, Donald, Nick, and Duncan. You can see my top tier supporters on the screen. Go over to patreon.com or look at the join button right here on YouTube to see about that. I also want to give a quick shout out to 14-1 Gear. So if you're a fan of straight pool, I've got this 14-1 logo on shirts, jerseys, pullovers, caps, mugs, anything you want. So if you're interested in that, show your love for straight pool, head over to shortstoponpool.com and check out the 14-1 Gear. Thorsten Hohmann. We talked about, during the Rack of the Week, where we talked about Jason Shaw's 832, I was comparing tournament play to solo run attempts and how those are kind of two different things. This, I think, is a good example of what tournament play is, which is minimizing risks, only shooting 100% shots, and just managing the rack without trying to splatter the balls and go crazy. This is a really cool shot. I'll try and go through this without pausing it too much. This is a really cool break shot by Thorsten Hohmann. He has a very extreme angle, and now a lot of us are going to be tempted to hit this hard. We want that 6 ball to get to the pocket before it gets interrupted by another ball. Watch him shoot. You don't have to slam those thin shots, people. The object ball is going to get there. And that's also an example of tournament play management, managing the cue ball. He's not sending the cue ball loose. He's not taking a risk. Just cinch the ball and make the ball. Now, you might not get a shot on that, and he does have one shot. He's got a shot on the 7 ball. Do you see him bending over to shoot the 7 ball right away? No. Walk around the table and look and see what your options are. What balls go where? We're also all going to be tempted to want to smash into this rack. See, he's going and taking another look. We'd be tempted to smash into this. We want to get those balls wide open. No, he's going to pick them apart and always shoot with insurance, and that's tournament play. So 7 ball, just going forward to shoot this ball. Now, I would be tempted to want to shoot this ball. I think it's the 5 or whatever that ball is near the corner pocket, because it clears the pocket for these other balls. But there's a lot of issues to be dealt with. So I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time trying to go all through them. But notice that Thorsten bumped the balls that were in the rack area, knowing he would have another shot here, but knowing that if he didn't, he would have this ball. So it's always 100% shots. You always know you're going to have a follow-up ball. He did the same thing right there. He knew he was going to have that stripe back up in the other side pocket. Again, he can shoot this one now, but he's going to shoot this one and just bump these open. Now, think about what this rack looked like just a few shots ago. There was a huge cluster in the middle of the table. It's gone. And all controlled shots with insurance. So here I'm looking at bumping that 14 out of the way. That's taking a risk. This isn't. This is tournament play. No risks. And none of the shots that he's shot had any difficulty to them. Every one of them were easy. I would be very concerned about these 2 balls, and want to play position up here. But obviously, the safest way to take care of them is use this ball to play position for that one in the upper corner. Then it becomes what? No risk. That's tournament play. Now he's taking a look. Obviously, most likely he'll shoot the 14. He's a little thin on it, but most likely he'll shoot that. And then he's going to shoot the combination. Then you've got a triangle, but this is a useless triangle. They don't play naturally one to the next to the next. So there isn't a stop shot pattern for the end pattern here. Most likely you'd want the 8 ball as a key ball if you can get above it. But the 14 works or whatever this stripe is works as well. If the cue ball's here, then you come out 1 rail. But so obviously we're going to shoot the combination, probably leave the 1 ball there, to play position there. Now Thorsten has another decision, like what I just said. You're going to either use the stripe to play position for the 8, or you're going to use the 8 to play position for the stripe. And if you do that, then you're going to have this pattern 2 rails around to get on your break ball, and that's not ideal. So I think he's playing position for this stripe ball. There, he's just pointing. Let me mark that. Oop, and then he put his Q-tip here as well. So one of those positions. Let's see where the Q-tip goes. So he underhit it. He didn't get there. And that can happen because your fear is you don't want to come too far, hook yourself behind the break ball, and then you have got a thin cut on the side, on the 8. Now Thorsten's faced with a decision, and before he shoots it, well, I'll let him shoot it first, but I'm gonna demonstrate this on the pool table. So he's made the decision. Now he's thinking about it because it's really delicate here, and I'll talk about this in a second at the table. It's delicate to go one rail, but the two rail route to center table is a better option in this case, and that's what he chooses. Really neat shot. And I'm going to go to the table and talk about that shot and give a few examples. And then we'll come back and look at the rest of the rack. It's an interesting shot that Thorsten Hohmann is faced with. He was trying to play position over here where he's got a shot on the 8 and the 10 both, or even to here where he's got a much more reasonable angle with the 10. Obviously, from here, it's very simple to just come out for the 8 ball like that. Very easy and controllable shot. But Thorsten ended up thin on this, and at first glance, it might have looked like a simple shot, but he took some time with this and thought about it. And I believe that this is about where it was. And what you want to look at here is the bottom edge of the 1 ball is below the top edge of the 10. That just kind of gives you a little clue about how thin you're cutting this. So it can be really hard to control the cue ball. And the position of the cue ball makes a huge difference, because if the cue ball, instead of being here or here, if it's in the middle of there, the bottom edge of the 1 ball is above the top edge of the 10. It's actually a much more shallow angle, and even though it's not as controllable as this, you can still shoot it, and you actually want to use strike low on the cue ball. You're not trying to draw the ball. Backspin slows the cue ball down. You're just trying to control it. And you might even use a hair of inside English to help that as well, to help check the angle off from the rail. But even from here, just a nice delicate stroke. You can control the speed of the cue ball very well, even though it's a thin cut shot. Now, the shot that Thorsten had was thinner than that. So his cue ball was way down here. So it's a very thin cut shot. It's still possible to shoot with low and control the cue ball. But because of how thin it is, it's much harder to control. And as you can see, my cue ball is running away from my cue ball. Look how far it's going. That's going to be a really hard cue ball shot from there. So just that little difference matters. And that's what I believe Thorsten was considering when he was looking at it. And so the correct decision is what Thorsten did, which is, 10 ball was right up from the first diamond, which is 3 rails. And you're coming, let's see if we can get down here. You want to practice the shot because it's very nervous. You feel like you're going to scratch here. And you don't want the cue ball here because it's going to come too wide. You're going to be too thin on the 8 ball. You've got to come tight out of the corner, and you're within the first diamond here. And then you're going to be coming at that 8 ball and either have a straight in shot or a shot to bounce it off the rail. It can look like you've got to really draw this ball, but you don't. Left English is more important than draw. You want to make sure you cut it into the pocket. So that left English just makes that angle really wide, and so you can come tight into the corner without being the fear of scratching. And now I have a great angle on this 8 ball to bounce off the rail. The same way that Thorsten did. There's one more option here if the cue ball is really thin, as I've described. And I don't recommend it unless if you're really adjusted to and in tune with the table, because you've got to get the speed control right or it's just not going to work. But it is possible with just a little bit of right English to come 2 rails across for the 8 ball. Like that. Now, that's a tricky shot. Yeah, and as it is, I came too far. So now I've got to shoot my cue ball, come to the side rail and out. If you can shoot it soft enough to be straight in or have this angle, it's ideal and you're going to be close to the 8 ball. But you risk hitting either of these balls and turning everything to garbage. So that's a risky shot as well. But you might want to practice it so it's in your tool bag in case if there's traffic in the way and that's your only choice. this shot can come up during the middle of a rack as well. For example, you want to use the 10, get position on the 1. So you want position up here and you misplay it and the cue ball's here. Oh no, what do I do? Well, the same shot doesn't work because I need to go 4 rails to come all the way back down table for the 1, so I'm hitting this shot harder. When you hit it harder, cue ball compresses the rail more, shortens the angle. I think if you experiment, you're going to find it somewhat difficult to get the cue ball around 4 rails. It's going to feel like you can't get into the corner. In fact, if you shoot below center, you might hit the rail down here and not even hit the head rail. The trick to this shot, to get the speed and the angle, is to elevate your cue a little bit. And you really want to, it's almost a semi-masse. You're really spinning that ball in. You got to get the cue ball to go wide enough on the wide enough to hit the head rail up here. Let's see if I can do it. So I went pretty tight in the corner, but I definitely got position on the 1 ball. Here it's just a simple matter. You shoot the 8 ball, this is center ball, and you've got to be confident enough to hit it with that stun stroke. You got a sliding cue ball into the rail that'll just bounce off. You're gauging the speed. You need to practice that one because it's very easy to hit it too hard and come way over here and be too straight. It's also very easy to get a little nervous and hit it too soft, and the cue ball ends up here, and you have an extreme back cut on your break ball. So you got to practice that one when you have a shallow angle stun to the rail, where you got to hit it with some force to get the distance right. You need to practice that. Is this a draw to the head rail shot? I don't think it is, because I think he's hitting this top ball a little too thin, and the cue ball would go this way and risk a scratch. I think you're going to see, so he's definitely got right English. This is center right. Yeah. Okay, so all the cue ball did there was kind of flop off the top of the rack. I would guess that he might have been trying to also skim off the top ball to the side rail, and then that right English brings it up back to center table. But you notice, just like the one that opened this rack, he didn't hit it hard. He didn't smash the rack. Look how wide the ball's opened, even though he didn't hit it with all that much speed. And once again, controlling the cue ball. That's good tournament play. Expect nothing less from one of the best to ever play the game, Thorsten Hohmann. Hope you like that. Remember, if you're going to play straight pool, play it straight. Head over to Shortstop and Pool. Get yourself some straight pool gear. Show your love for straight pool. And we'll see you next week on Rack of the Week. We'll do a different game other than straight pool or 9-ball. I don't know what it'll be. Either 10-ball or 1 pocket, I think. See you next week. Bye.